So first things first, gentlemen, how are you?
Hey, we're good, man, Rob. Nice to be with you, bro.
All good, brother.
Excellent.
Feeling
That's
good.
very good to hear. So what I thought was a good place to start is "We Made It," the title of your latest album. So where did that title come from?
10 years ago, we met for the first time. The three of us met on a stage. Dr. Duda was actually performing, and he was a DJ, and he was a producer DJ, and we didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was. I asked him if I could jump on the stage and sing with him over the beats he was playing, and he was like, who's this guy? And he let me on anyway. But I think "We Made It" stands for, all the way looking back on that day to the fact that 10 years later, 5 albums later, so much that we've been through, we've done so much. And I think that we've stood together. And I think that "We Made It" kind of just stands for that. I think that also, if your heart is beating and you're still breathing, we believe that you too have made it, so it's that present sort of feeling.
Well, there's something about that which I will get into later, because there's a song that kind of matches what you say as well. But first, about that first meeting, what was kind of the dream you all had individually before you all got together, the three of you?
Sure. Duda, your mic is muted there, huh?
Hey, can you hear me now? Now I'm saying it's a tricky question, because when we met 10 years ago, Jay Something, the lead singer, was more into R&B, and Moti, the trumpeter, was more into jazz type of songs. I've been in gospel for so many years. I'm loving it and doing it, So, and then there was just one thing that was magical when we were together. We were just making good music with no rehearsals, with nothing, But when we meet together and start doing a song, we're just doing a good song, So I guess we were just 3 individuals who were meant to, to be together at some point, so.
You've known each other for 10 years then. You spent, I suppose, a lot of time together. What is can you name a couple of things that you've learned from each other, either in life or in music?
Well, I'll take that one, and the biggest word that I'll use is growth, because, there's one question that Jay likes asking or saying, and he's always discussing growth, and we've all had that sense of growth between the three of us, and within many things. It won't only be music, but there's so many other things. We've grown as brothers. We all dads. We all got families. We all so there's just so many things that cover up that word growth. We've done well. We've done well for this past 10 years, and we just keep going. And the energy is just this fiery one that we're having. So that's the main thing that I've learned, and just, the music also has had this thing of keeping us together. And the more that we've just made that good music, we've just become just so stronger, and I guess that's why now we can say that we made it, because we've been through so much, but every time, a certain song can have a sense of healing, either for us and for our fans, So, man, there's just so much that I can say about your question.
I think also, Robin, what I've learned from Mo and Duda is that silence sometimes is golden. It's not about how loud you speak here. Sometimes it's about how loud you speak in your music, and I think that for us, we've always just stuck to our guns, man. We haven't really tried to be anything other than ourselves. And I think that a lot of that comes out in our individual characters. But Mo and Duda generally are, especially Duda. Duda's the older guy, and he was established before we started. And he really taught me that it's not about how loud you speak. It's about how great your song is. And that, for me, from the beginning, I always just chased that until this day. Nothing beats a great song. It doesn't matter who you are, man. If you're known for your drama or for how loud you talk, you're gonna be quiet one day, and it's just the good song lasts, man.
And well, that's another interesting thing because well, the way you guys are, and from what I've seen from you guys, you are very normal people, very humble about what you do in a way.
Yeah.
But then also there was especially early on, the success happened and was there, and so what was it like, kind of going through what this music industry is, and then kind of either getting recognized and but also trying
Sure.
to stay normal and just focus on the music.
Yeah, I guess it's something that you learn all the time. It's not something that everyone has when they're starting to get famous, you know. Because when you started, it's just you and the music. But now when you start to become famous, there's everything now. There's fans, there's interviews, there's TV, there's radio, and there's somebody like there's other people talking crap about you. There's other, so you always learn every day, my man. So it's been a learning curve since we started, you know.
And what I find interesting then is because, well, because you guys are so, well, Mo mentioned kind of because you had to endure certain things, you have to get through things to grow. What was one of the things that you kind of had to overcome to get where you are now? Can you say, because one of those things I
Being
suppose
like in a totally, Robin, like being in a band, you know, like being in a band is being in a relationship. It's three guys, you know. So I think that, you know, doing this for 10 years, staying together as a band, being at the top of our game for 10 years since the beginning, you know, we didn't have that come up story, you know, we didn't have like that struggle story. We released one song and that song became the song of the year here in South Africa. So it was a lot to take in. But I think with time, like in any relationship, you go through ups and downs. And I think that for us, it was just about, you know, deciding, do we quit now? Do we divorce now? Do we separate now? Or do we try and push through because we love one another? We love what we do. And looking at this album, we made it now. I really thank God that we did push through. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely worth the while.
What is and this is always a bit vague, but what is the drive then? What makes you kind of do this? What's that kind of drive or passion that you have?
I think it has a lot to do with the power behind music that I think we individually all believe in. And I think collectively, we've always wanted to make music because we believe the power it has on to have social impact. You know, I think that especially coming where we come from, and not even about where we come from, and like the world, we need music to really make an impact on society, to really fill the world with positivity and hope and love. And these type of things there was a time when they became really cheesy. And now I think when we are like deep in the shit of like everything that we're going through, like now everybody's like, oh man, it's important to be there for one another. It's important to have love and hope and unity. And, you know, and I think that like for us, besides the passion for music, I think it's also the understanding of the power of music that has always made us stick together and use music as a tool.
Was there a moment that you remember where you really felt this power of music? That when you, maybe for instance, being on stage and people repeating some of your words back to you, or can you tell me about a moment where you kind of felt that power?
I think I personally, my biggest moment was when we first went to Angola for the first time. And when we got there, it was about, I think the crowd was about 40,000 people came to watch us, you know. And remember, we were just starting and people were just singing through like with the songs all the time. We were like, what is happening here? You know, from the band that is just started and you receive so much love, you know. So that was like my kind of moment where over 30,000 people, they came there to just watch Mi Casa, you know. Yeah.
I think also like recently, Robin, if I can add to that, bro, sorry to take up, but
just talk as freely as you like. That's perfect.
Yeah. No, Duda mentioned the story that's like, you know, at least 9 years old, it was a beautiful story. I mean, it's a day we'll never forget. And then I just want to fast forward to like a couple of months ago, we were performing in Cape Town. Matter of fact, towards the end of last year, we do this one show in a beautiful part of Cape Town called Kirstenbosch. It's in the gardens. It's like really beautiful. And it's a Mi Casa show that we do, and about 7,000 people come to the show. And we performed one of the songs that's on the album. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's a song called Chucks. Yeah. Yeah. And we jammed that song for the first time ever, bro. And we performed it like halfway through the concert. And then we finished the show. And I remember being backstage and we just heard everybody singing the chorus to that song, like 7,000 people singing. And I think it's also about the words, you know, and going back to the power of music. Like the words to that song is, all I know is I'm not giving up. I'm going to go until my time is up. To hear 7,000 people singing that after their first listen, and we got called back on stage because of that, man. That was wild. I'll never forget that.
That's interesting that you named that song, because that's one of the ones that I've picked up. One, because I'm a basketball fan. You mentioned Chucks and MJ, so I have to.
Yeah.
But also because I wrote that line down. I'm not going to give up until my time's up. But also one line that I really liked from that song was, "Put an end to the moaning. You've got a reason to live." So a lot of positivity and hope. Can you tell me where that particular line came from? What you kind of...
Man, I think it's just about, like, again, I don't want to take it back there because it then sounds repetitive, but I think it's about understanding that if you hear a song and sonically it hits you, you all of a sudden start to then possibly believe in what it's saying. And I think that, like, so many of us, we just sit in the negative all the time. We always drowned by anxiety, drowned by darkness. And to be honest with you, man, if you look around, like, we have so much more good outweighing the bad, even in these times. And I think that it's about, like, can we stop with the moaning and can we focus on building? So yeah, that's where the line stemmed from.
Let's talk a little bit about how these songs get created, how these songs are made then, because do you have a set structure of how you make songs? Is there a way you work, or a way you prefer to work?
Well, it depends. Sometimes it just depends on the mood, whose mood is, like, way fruitful than each other, you know. So sometimes it would be just me with the music, sending to the vocalist, which is Jay, or sometimes it would be the trumpet melody that I'm following, or sometimes it's just the lead vocal that I'm following, you know. So it varies, but on this album it was different because we had, like, a couple of guys in studio together, where we just got a sacred house, move away from our comfortable homes, and just go there and do just one thing, which is recording music, you know. So we had, like, boys from PE, talented boys. Elizabeth, they go by the name of JF. You know? More mute your mic, please. Thank you. So yeah, we sat together in that house for like 3 months or so, doing nothing but just waking up and doing good music, you know. So we had, like, normally sometimes doing music or an album for us as a band, it would be just me alone as a producer. So we had, like, guys in between years. So that's how special this one it is, and that's how different it is from the most ones we did.
So in that sense, did songs get completed a lot quicker than usual? Did you kind of have the chance to work them out very quickly?
Yeah, the flow, like I said, it depends, but the flow like that, it just becomes amazing, you know. You kind of like finish a song in a day if the song is that that good mood, yeah. Because I can just come and touch this, one jumps in and touch that, one jumps in and as soon as you know the track is finished, you know.
And one thing, oh, go ahead.
We had like 35 songs at the end of the songwriting camp, you know. So we had to choose. So we were churning out like sometimes like three ideas, you know, that are like 60% done in a day. You know, it was literally like 18 hours of the day was music making.
Because one of the things I really like about you guys is that even though you have a certain identity, a musical identity, it's also very eclectic. Like Duda mentioned in the beginning, you all have different influences and different things you bring to the table. So What do you base your selection on then? If you have 35, you have to bring it down to, I think, 13. So how do you pick?
Yo, that's always like a tough one for us, because I mean, you know, guys are like, yo, but I like love that song so much, you know. Why are we letting that song go, guys? Come on, you know. And I think I also had those moments where I was like, yo, guys, come on, this song can't be left out, type of thing, you know. But I guess we all just have a listen. We have like a whole listening session that we put together, and yeah, we just write down. Like, I think now we're voting. We had like votes, and we're like, yo, gents, let's actually vote for these songs, you know. And if you like the song, just write on the paper. If you don't, just put a cross, and then yeah. And I think the songs that have made it to the album now were the top songs that were like mentioned over and over and over. Yeah, so we got the backlog of the other songs just chilling there, and yeah, hopefully we'll just like rework them and maybe also like release them one day, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, man.
There's one song in particular, I suppose, more for you that is quite special, which is Banza Patsy. So can you tell me a little bit about how that song came together and kind of, well, obviously you voted for it, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, well, Banza Patsy is a track that, no, the whole concept started off when we're chilling in studio, and Jay was like, yo, man, like there's something cool that, like I think you can do also here for paying respect to your dad, paying tribute to your dad, you know, because my dad used to play trumpet. He taught me how to play trumpet. He used to play trumpet for Mango Group. Right. And yeah, and then the story goes where it's like, yo, just imagine your dad playing for your mom and like playing the special tune for your mother, and how he would have played it, you know? So just close your eyes and actually just imagine that you are your dad and you're playing this tune, which wasn't really easy for me because, I mean, like you know what, he taught me how to play trumpet, yes, but he also had his own type of tone, like trumpet tone. And I also have my type of tone also, you know, so just trying to put myself into my dad's shoes was yeah, that was something very like nerve-wracking, you know, but yeah, but at the end of the day, like that song was done and it was actually like a one take. Okay. That was a one take. So yeah, you know, and which actually just shocked me because I thought we were going to just sit on this tune and sit on it. And that was just a one take. And it's also got like some brass backing it, you know. So I come from a brass background, and that's just a song that just shows like where Mo comes from also, you know, and that Mo also followed his dad's footsteps, and that Mo's still doing this thing. And that, you know, like, I'm so proud of like where I've come from. And the old man just left me with this beautiful gift, and the gift of music, you know, and the gift of this instrument, because it's not the easiest thing on earth, playing a trumpet, you know, like, you know. So his favorite words to me was that, yo, practice every single day, practice, you know, because the trumpet is also like a woman. If you don't give it like attention, it'll embarrass you. So, you know, some women, if you don't give them like that, you know, like, yo, you haven't called me for 5 days, you know, and they say that like in front of your friends. So that's the thing that's made me go on and has kept on motivating me with the instrument, you know, because that every single day, like, I do my best, even if it's 30 minutes, you know, but I push for more hours. But John, that's it, you know.
And now you mentioned women, which obviously a lot of the songs go into dealing with women and relationship and that kind of stuff as well. So, and this is for any of you. How do you kind of capture the mood? And for, I don't know if you write lyrics together, but how do you know what to write about? And what you write about, is that about somebody specific then that you have in mind?
I think it's always about authenticity for me. Like when it comes to songwriting, you know, it's just about like, you know, if I've never been good at writing songs that I don't relate to, you know. I think that every single song on that album comes from a very authentic place. And I think if we go back, like we fell into this trap, and I call it a trap because, and it's funny because it's everybody's dream, you know, to kind of be commercial, you know, make pop music, make popular music. And when you start making popular music, you start writing for people and not for yourself, because you know it's going to work. So I think that as a songwriter, for me, what's always intrigued me is to be personal for my own reasons, and then to hopefully find ways to make that relatable. So like, I mean, if you take a song like Love Everything About You, you know, it's about me thinking about, you know, women that are not necessarily just women, but in this particular mindset, it was, you know, women that are always looking in the mirror and feeling inefficient, or always feeling like they need a change in order to fit in. And me, it was like a song saying, yo, I love everything about you. You don't got to change nothing. And I mean, it's me speaking to my wife, but it's also, you know, it could be anything you want it to be.
Sure. Sorry. And then what I find interesting is also, Duda mentioned mood, so kind of capturing that. So one of the sounds I love the most is on Home Alone. Just that key sound is just, it sounds so warm and stuff. So Duda, when you work on these melodies and beats and stuff, are you looking for something, or are you just kind of trying things out?
Unmute, boy, unmute.
Unmute. Normally, I would just wait for the song to be, you know, kind of like almost done, where there's like vocals that I can, you know, actually pick up the mood from, you know. So I would then maybe go and sit alone and try and, you know, cover that whole mood thing with the sounds, you know. So the sounds needs to, you know, talk back to what Jay is singing also, in the mood. And so yeah, man, sometimes it depends. I'll just use one sound throughout, you know, but normally I'll just do the sounds very much later when the song is done, and then just sit there alone, you know, lock myself up in studio and start, you know, doing the communication between the vocals and sounds.
Right, and with that, I suppose comes because, like I mentioned, you guys are very eclectic in nature. So, but could I say the kind of one of the main goals is getting people to move, getting people to dance? Is that fair to say?
Definitely,
yeah, totally, man.
Definitely, man. We gotta keep it, you know, friendly, because we kind of like have that experience where we know kind of like those friendly sounds, which has nice color to everyone. You understand? Yeah. So not all the sounds are that much friendlier when it comes to someone's ears, but with our experience, we can tell, okay, this sound might work on this might work on that. You know, and obviously
it's almost like the science.
Yeah.
Science of music, you know, understanding which potion you need to get that vibe. So totally, man.
Yeah.
And but there's one song on this record that is a little bit different from that, I suppose, which is Eve. So with that song, I mean, I think you could still dance to it, but it also is obviously a more serious tone to it. So what was it like working on that song? You mentioned being in that house. What was it like working on that particular song?
Lyrically for Eve, like for me, it was also because we were digging so deep, and we were trying to really tell people how we feel, which we haven't really done in our music before. You know, our music was always about good vibes, positivity, and that sort of thing. But I think that, you know, I don't want to call it negativity, but you only know light when you see dark. You know, you only know good when you've known bad. So I think for me, like Eve, it was about shining light on the bad so that we can see the light. You know what I mean? It was when Duda was making that track, like it was an emotion that just filled the house. It was this, like, it was dark, but it wasn't necessarily bad. It was like, we need to say something. Something needs to be said.
And then there's also you make a good point in that whenever things sound a little bit dark or sound a little bit more serious, people automatically make it sad or make it. But there's nothing wrong with sadness in a way. It's a legitimate human emotion which we feel at times. So it is good to have that.
I feel that too, man. I feel that too. My kid the other day came into the house and he said, I'm so sad. And I'm like, that's okay. You know, tell me about it, you know? So it's an emotion we shouldn't shy away from.
Exactly. And so now with obviously the album's done and it's out, how do you, because we're living in strange times, which that song kind of indicates, but I mean, the world's been strange for a while, I would say.
Yeah.
So how do you look towards the future in terms of what you as musicians are able to do, but also in terms of, do you see a silver lining in everything that is happening in the world?
Yeah, man. I mean, I do. I know we all do, matter of fact. I think like, you know, as much as, like I said, you know, when you actually just stop and you are present in the moment and you realize, like, I mean, just look at that, man. Like there's nothing bad. Yeah, man, there's nothing bad about that. You know, it's about, I think that the silver lining is everywhere. It's just that sometimes we just need to open up our eyes. You know, I think that, so for us as musicians, I think it's, you know, they asked us, do we want to release this project now in this time? And we were like, definitely, man, this is when people need music the most. So for us, you know, I think Chuck's kind of like also speaks to that feeling of like, let's just keep going. Yes, there's Eve. There's a lot of crap going on, but let's not give up going.
So final question, and what do you hope people take away from your music, or kind of, if anything, but what do you want them to hear in a sense, or what do you want to make them feel?
Yeah, for me, I guess it's all about the happiness, and what we're trying to actually spread throughout the whole world is like, love one another, you know, cherish one another, whether you're black or white, it doesn't matter. You know, so just make good music so that everyone can be happy and the whole world can just be happy, because music is so fruitful to our minds, man.
Last thing then, because what you mentioned is what I really find interesting as a band. The thing that you do is that it's always the song first. It's not any one of the three of yours egos that comes first. It's always the song, trying to make the song as good as it can be. So is that something you had to learn to do in a way?
It's something that we were blessed with, you know, because going back to the fame aspect and how we dealt with it, you know, fame is a very dangerous drug. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like, it's a relevancy game, and you're always just trying to stay relevant. You're just trying to stay on top of that mountain. And when you're on top of the mountain, you realize, oh shit, the only way is down. Like, I just try and stay up here for as long as I can. And I think that for us, like, it's something, and why I say it's a gift is, thank God that each member here in the band cares more about the music than about the fame. And that's been something that I think it's got to do with how we were brought up. I think it's like, I pay tribute to our parents, our upbringing, our friends, our family. They're the ones that molded us to become the men that we are today. And I think that together, like Duda mentioned, when we come together, there's just something magical about it, because I think we like-minded.
So on that thought, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Just one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo, man, can you play us a song? We see guitars behind you there.
Yeah.
There's some guitar. Can you play us a song, man?
I can show you, but... Oh, I have to put this back in.
A nice Fender.
I'm not a good guitar player, and the string is broken, as you can see. I can't play.
That's classic. Oh, no. Thanks, Robin. We appreciate you, bro. Thanks for your time, man.
Yo, Rob, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So much.
It was an absolute pleasure.